everybody, I'm Bert. This is PODC TV, The Hill Report. I'm here with my co-host, Jim Fotis. Jim, how you doing today, buddy?
Doing very well, Bert. I just got back to Florida from Tennessee, and it's a balmy 99 degrees here in Lake Worth, Florida.
Dealing with the latest on the housing bill that got passed in Congress. Now, it's a good bill. It's bipartisan, but Trump is not going to sign it. He's kind of protesting that. But I found something interesting, like if he doesn't sign it or veto it and it goes past 10 days, it's automatically signed into law. Can you kind of explain that? Because that's something new that I learned.
Yeah, if he doesn't sign it, it's for all legislation. If it passes both houses, not signed by the president, it goes into becomes law. And it's kind of like the way I explain it is if somebody abstains from a vote. It's a protest, but it's as good as a no. So the president is saying, basically, no, I don't believe you did your job and I'm not signing it. But in other words, even though he really doesn't think much of the housing bill, he's saying, probably I would sign it if you did your job and signed the other legislation that I really like.
Now, what if I could jump in here? Now, I know he's protesting, but what's he protesting about?
He's protesting about that Congress has just been kind of lazy moving bills out, and he wants them to sign the Save America Act, and it's just not moving, and he wants them to sign that first. If they sign that first, then he'll sign the housing bill. And that I agree with him. I mean, the housing bill is important. The Democrats are claiming this is the best housing bill in the last 40 years. But the fact is, how many housing bills have we had over the last 40 years? And they've done nothing except money disappears, as we spoke about the other day, and nothing is ever done. It's just amazes me. Tunnelos Towers does more with the money that they get than the urban development does with any of the housing money. So what can I tell you?
In this bill, we haven't done a deep dive on it because it's not something that we work with. But it's curious. They have all this extra money or money going towards everything. Big question is there things in place to oversee to make sure there's no more fraud, which I don't think it's going to happen.
I mean, we've seen it all. I mean, we've seen what's happened in Minnesota with the Somalians and how they have just abused the money coming into Minnesota for education, for children, for childcare, going into the billions, probably into the trillions of dollars. And now we're finding that money has become graft in so many states, and even in California, we see it happening now. And Nick Shirley has done a great job of exposing this, and I hope he continues to.
Yeah. So I mean, it has been a slow news cycle in reference to some of the legislation that's going on because they're out of session for the 4th of July. They'll be coming back on Monday. We'll be back up on the Hill on Monday, and it's going to be pretty much balls to the walls for the next 2 weeks because then they're out in August. So I'm not sure how much they're going to get done.
That's right. Yeah, they're out the whole month of August to campaign at home, and it's going. Bert, as we've talked about before, it's going to be a very rough year, and maybe you can comment on what's going to happen to the important legislation we have out there for law enforcement if the Republicans do not retake the House and the Senate. We're going to have everything blocked, and I think we're going to have a continuous try to impeach the president over the next 2 years from 2027 to 2028. We're going to have a lame duck president in there. But everybody who is a patriot and a Republican should get out there and vote, keep us so that we maintain a conservative House and a conservative Senate so that we can at least get some legislation passed, and maybe you can give us some insight into that by the end of the year.
Yeah, like we had talked about before, we've had some good bills get passed. One bill that we are focusing on is S3179 and HR 7846, the HALO Act. What this bill does is for individuals that interfere, harass, or threaten federal immigration officers in the line of duty, they can be criminally charged up to 5 years in prison or a fine. They must keep 25 feet away from the agents while they're doing their job. It's not saying they can't protest. They just have to stay a safe distance away. They can scream and holler. They can do whatever. But once they, impede or threaten those immigration officers, they can be arrested, which we are working hard to get that passed. We support it. Like I said, we have, the bill both on the House and the Senate, and we're trying to push that to get passed. We're getting some headway. But when you're talking about immigration, which side's not going to touch it. So it's going to be an uphill battle, and we're going to keep doing our best to get that passed through this session and going into the 120th session. That I think going through when we're talking about what legislation is going to get passed over the next few months, that's the $1 million question, because we have a few bills stuck in committee. Two of them on the Senate side, which is the Leo's Reform Act and Improving Law Enforcement Officer Safety Through Wellness Through Data Act. Both of those passed the House in the 118th Congress and the 119th Congress. And right now, they're sitting in committee on the Senate side. In the next couple episodes, we'll take a deep dive on both those bills on why they're so important to get passed. Just like the HALO Act, these are all to help law enforcement do their job, right? I mean, we see the defund the police, the rhetoric about cops are bad, and we're just trying to change that. Another one that was brought to our attention is HR 6475, Preventing Child Trafficking Act. Now that got passed in the House. It got passed in the Senate, and now we're trying to push it to get it passed in the House, and we're hoping that we can get that passed before the end of the 119th session, which I don't see why we shouldn't. I mean, all of these are great bills, and we'll be covering those in the next few weeks.
Right. Child trafficking is on, the forefront of everybody's list, and yet we can't get it through the House. And it's been sitting in the House Judiciary for months now, and it's just not moving. And, if you ask, they'll say they've got such a backlog that they can't move these bills out. But yet, my problem is, why can't they move what's most important up and get it passed? And child trafficking should be an important bill to both Democrats and Republicans, but it doesn't seem to be. And with all the ads and all the groups that have been formed, yet we are losing, over 300,000 children a year. And everybody said they care, but nobody truly does anything.
No, you're right. It's, why can't they get through committee? I've learned recently they can hotline these bills and expedite them. Why aren't some of these that we know that are bipartisan expedited? One good bill too is HR 183. That's the Law Enforcement and Firefighters Recreational Act, which allows all law enforcement and fire and rescue to have free passes to all national parks. That was passed in July of last year on the House, but it's sitting in the Senate. So why is that one? That should be bipartisan. How can you can't argue that one, Jim? Could you? Free,
No,
free,
no. I
free
mean,
passes.
it's
I
giving
don't
the
know.
people that are out there protecting us a little perk so that they can use our national parks, travel around, see the rest of the country, and get into the parks for free. And I think it's well worth it to do that for law enforcement, fire, and anyone else who's a protector. But you know, sometimes the Senate will just sit there and not even pick them up. And I don't understand why, on a bipartisan, simple bill, take a vote and get it over with. Make everybody would look good.
Right, and think about that though too. Allowing first responders and their families to hit national parks. As we're trying to the retention, the pay. This is just kind of a thing that you can say thank you for doing your job and putting your life on the line every day. And it's a good mental health, right? You go camping, you get out with your family, you're out in the woods. You don't have to worry about what's back there, right? You can basically, restart yourself. And I think this is a good start. And hopefully, that one especially, there should be no reason why that should not be passed by the end of this year. None
And these
whatsoever.
national parks are beautiful. When I was out in Washington State, I had gone to a national park on one of the islands out there. The park rangers are so knowledgeable what these parks are about and why they were formed and everything that's in the park. It's fun. It's learning something, and you can just go out and enjoy yourself. And if you want to camp out, you can camp out. If you want to stay, they have these little cabins in some of the places. It's a great out for the family.
Yeah, yeah, it is. And hopefully, I'm gonna be reaching out with my contacts with the Judiciary Committee and finding out. And I believe that this one is Natural Resources Committee for the rec pass. So we're going to be trying to reach out and figure out why this is not getting passed, because it should be a no brainer, and maybe we can get that done. And upcoming couple weeks, we're going to be very very busy. We got you're coming into town the 20th through the 24th. We're hopefully have some interviews set up to interview some members of Congress. But I know that's going to be the next couple weeks are going to be very very busy. But if that doesn't happen, we're going to be meeting with staff members. We're going to be doing some interviews up there with staff members. We'll be out and about throughout Congress. So we got a lot coming up in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, we do. I'll be in town to attend the CPAC trafficking meeting with actually my son, who is in charge of Project Liberty. Uh, we'll be attending that meeting together. Bert is possibly going with us unless he's doing something up on the hill, but it's very important that we attend, and we're hoping to accomplish more and more in the trafficking area as we grow Project Liberty. And Bert, just as an aside, I wanted to say that during the gigantic funeral of the ex-leader of Iran, the Khomeini, they have threatened to assassinate President Trump very, very seriously. The president has taken it serious. He has written up an order that would go to the next person in charge, basically, of what he would like to see done if they do kill him. So he is definitely serious about this. He thinks the threat is real and a great possibility that he could be assassinated.
Hmm. What can you say about that, right? But yet, you got members in Congress that don't want you fighting against Iran, getting them to stop doing what they're doing for the past 47 years. Go figure.
I know. I know. It's just, you know, I kind of wonder why we stopped when we started several months ago, but that's above my rank. But it
Yeah,
seems to me that Iran is just the biggest country that pushes terrorism around the world and promotes continuous havoc in the Middle East.
yeah. So, well, you know what? That's going to wrap it up for us. And until next time, I'm Bert Eiler. This is PODC TV, The Hill Report, where we bring the hill to you. Till next time, God bless.
God bless. God bless America.